lot of the
Got me
pieces,
going then.
yeah.
That was a jump scare in itself.
Ah!
To art and beauty.
And the night ahead.
Hi, guys. How are you doing? Nice to see you.
Hi.
Very well. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I've literally just finished the second screening of the film just now. It's just brilliant. I loved it, Travis. I just keep getting better every movie. So congratulations to the three of you.
It's I owe it all to my partners on this. They're really, really amazing.
Oh, they're fantastic. I mean, this one specifically because it really kind of you really focus on, especially when I was watching it, and a lot of kind of the dialogue specifically. You really focus a lot more on the characters, like right up to their face now, more so than your previous films. So I'm kind of curious about what was your inspiration, not about the actual story, but the actual kind of the style, because the style really jumps out. This one, I mean, your previous films also, but this one really jumps out. It's kind of the way that I just said that you really focus on the faces, and then there's kind of the grainy feel of the film, and kind of the dialogue. Everything was very kind of, it felt very 80s to me. Was there any specific inspiration for you as a director, and also for you two as actors in the film, for your characters?
But I'll just say from the directing, it's because the movie was sort of split into two parts, which were subjective sort of experiences of what was happening on the date. It, sort of dictated how we were covering each of the actors and how we were covering what they were looking at in the events. So really trying to put the audience inside Meredith's head in the beginning and Bruce's head on the second half. And I think that sort of dictated a lot of the cinematic sort of style choices. And then, once we're in Bruce's head and he's got a brain injury and he's also sort of self-aggrandizing, the visuals can get really, really sort of outlandish, and it sort of, makes sense for that half. So that was, I think, hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah. But I mean, because obviously Travis, he's got such a specific focus and our vision for this film. With you two coming in as actors, what did you bring, and how open was he to kind of for you to change slightly this really specific vision that you had for the film?
Well, I felt that the vision was specific and clear, but still had room for interpretation for my parts. It wasn't like it wasn't heavily prescribed in any way. And by the time we had talked about it, we were all like, oh, we're on the same page. Now let's just go do it. So when we were on set, we worked pretty quickly, honestly. I think we got to it really quickly. And in terms of inspiration, Jane Fonda and Clute was a nice sort of like anchor for me because of the way she held her strength. I found that really appealing, and there was a softness and a bit of a like not being like she didn't know everything, she didn't have everything under control, but she could handle anything, and I like that.
And the same to Josh.
I think as far as the sort of character anchor for me, it was more about an acting challenge or a place of emotion I sort of put myself, which was to to play sensual, whatever that was. This guy probably knows what he has and how to use it, whether it's his ego or his whatever, cheekbones or nice suit. So I was like, how can I use my cheekbones? But truly, I mean, as someone who's been a comedian for so long and playing, true caricatures in internet videos for so long, to tap into like, what would it mean to lean into your sensual self and that sort of side, because that's how Bruce lures is by seduction. That was the constant, I think, acting challenge, which is exciting because I'm not often asked to do that sort of thing. There was again, just to echo Sarah's point, so much freedom to play, and that's the brilliant thing. I think when the director's vision is so clear, you have such a wonderful sort of freeing nature to the shoot itself, because the parameters are so clear. You can do whatever you want within certain parameters, and that's when you get something really exemplary.
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, yeah, something that I really love is the fact that there have been recently, especially, there's been these kind of typical tropes of nice guy meets nice girl. And the nice guy could be this awful guy. I won't name any names, but there've been a couple of recently that have not been great. But this is fantastic. I mean, but was it always in the script, this idea that there was I don't want to give too much away, but there's kind of this feminist theme underlying there? Was that always in the script when it first came to your desk, Travis? And how did you kind of manipulate that slightly to kind of fit it in with your vision?
Yeah, so the original script was written by Nathan Fawdry, and when it came to me, it was a guy and a girl go to a cabin, and the Furies show up. So it was there in the original, and I think sort of my work was in how to bring the Furies into this world, both visually, thematically, emotionally, sort of how to just sort of deconstruct it a little bit and then reconstruct it in a way that sort of fit what I thought was a more interesting presentation of it. Like director shit. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There was something really nice about working with a story that the plot is really simple. Like the events that take place in this story, there's not much. And therefore we could focus on how we were telling the story. And we could spend time, really exploring different ways to cover those very few plot points. And that was what was exciting to me as a filmmaker, especially because I'd already made a couple movies where men had to learn lessons. So.
I mean, but talking of tropes, something that I really wasn't expecting to see this film was so many jump scares, and they all work really well. Was there a kind of a scareometer there? Because I imagine that you're not a massive jump scare fan, just kind of based on the things that you've done so far. Was there a kind of a limit where you're like, right, let's draw the line here with so many jump scares? Because oftentimes it doesn't here, but oftentimes it kind of pulls you out of the movie. There's too many now.
Yeah. No, they pay you per jump scare now in the Hollywood horror industry. Yeah. So, no, I think
got me going then. That was a jump scare in itself.
No, I tried to get better at filmmaking, and I was like, fuck, man, I haven't really nailed one of these yet. Let me keep trying. And everybody's like, all right, fine. Somebody passes the camera. I'm like, yeah, but we're gonna add a sound. So, no, I mean, I think it's a part of the vocabulary, and it seemed to make sense, and for that section of the story, and it is something that I wanted to try to get right. Sorry, it's just like I feel like
I loved it. No, I just wanted to kind of based on what you'd done previously. Like, it was kind of surprised coming from you. Yeah, that kind of. No, jump scares, no, they work really well. It wasn't a criticism of any way.
No, I didn't take it as criticism. I mean, I didn't take it as a criticism of my entire filmmaking career, Howard. I mean, but no. No, I'm just being honest. I was like, I really want to try to get one of these right. That was why.
But just in case you did think that was a bit of a criticism, what about this one? This felt as if Quentin Tarantino made a horror movie. It could be something like this because of all of kind of the songs that you put in there, a lot of kind of tips of the hat to a lot of films. I'm quite curious about all of these little things. I mean, there's all these books, these art pieces of work, pieces of art, the songs, Manfred Mann, all these kind of things. Do they all come kind of later on after the script, or was that all kind of things that you'd already had kind of in your logbook somewhere, and you decided, right, these are going to work in this film?
I think you pick them up like you're walking through a briar patch. And just these little visuals or songs or ideas get stuck to you as you're on your journey. So a lot of it had come up in the process of rewriting the script, in conversations with Sarah, who had been involved in the project earlier. So certain music choices and stuff came directly from her. Books I'm reading, all that stuff. You just sort of start putting a mood board together and then find ways to incorporate it into what you're doing. But yeah, I have this dream, because we shot on film. I have this dream of like making a print and playing it at the New Beverly Cinema in Los Angeles, and you know, Tarantino being like, "Oh man, I really like what you did there," and then I'll be like, "Fuck yes."
But I imagine a lot. I mean, I've been listening to the Man for Man track since I've been watching it, so it's back in my playlist again. So basically, it's kind of like Quentin Tarantino's all those films, all the songs that are in his films suddenly kind of become popular again. It's kind of the same kind of vein with this, yeah. And then just something. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I think one thing that he does, and like movies that exaggerate reality, you know, emotionally, is like, that feels like cinema to me. And I think he does it exceptionally well with his needle drops and stuff, where it just puts you in this vibe. And that's something that we were trying to do with this.
I'm curious as well. I mean, Josh, because you've been on the other side of the camera as well. And Travis, how is Josh as an actor director in front of the camera? How are you directing him, and Josh, how are you receiving directions? How did it work both ways? Was there a lot of kind of freehand there?
I mansplain. I mean, as soon as you know, I would call my own action and my own cut. I'd shout self-action, you know.
I wouldn't even show up on the days he was working. They only brought me in for the jump scares. Josh just handled the rest.
Travis was only there for the trunk shot with Mullen, which gets me every time. It was an easy shoot. He was shooting it like Wes Anderson doing a stop motion, just calling Paris. I mean, for me, it's great because I get to, as a as a filmmaker and just as a creative person, I get to archive how a visionary director like Travis talks to his actors and how he sets up a scene, and how you know, and then later how I get to see the thing pieced together and go, oh shit, when we drove into the tunnel, the fact that he used sound design the way that he did, and included his cinematographer in that immense process, the coloring process, and what was clearly probably an even more extreme involved way because of, you know, the nature of what the film is and what it requires. And that, for me, it's just great because it's another exercise. It only makes the job, I think, of a filmmaker better to be directed by other filmmakers. I mean, I hope it does. I hope I've picked up enough from this experience from Travis, and really working with any director, you know, what I can hopefully, you know, parlay into any other project I do.
Something that really, I mean, there was just two specific phobias that I have were in this film as well. One of them is snakes, which I just cannot even look at snakes. And then the other one is just something specific about, if anyone starts playing with the nails, which you do in the film, Sarah, a few times, that just really gets under my skin. So congratulations on really making that work for me. But I wanted to ask you, Sarah, were those snakes real? Did you actually kind of share the screen with snakes? Because that's something I would just never even think about doing.
They were all real. And I loved it. I really like snakes and I like reptiles. If it was spiders, I couldn't have taken the job. I wouldn't have been able to be on set. So I can relate, but snakes I liked. There was one woman on set who had a snake phobia, and she was conducting her own exposure therapy throughout the shooting day, though.
I put a photo in the chat of Sarah with one of the snakes, so you can grab that if you like it.
Oh, that's great. Cheers. Thank you. So just to finish off, then they're going to give me the wrap in a second. Josh, there's one thing I want to talk to you. I've just been speaking to Noah recently about another film that you're starring in. You're in later soon, also on Shudder. You play a kind of Renfield type character in that one. I don't want to give too much away, but he said he needed a Renfield for his film, and he came to you saying that he was really kind of impressed by something that one of your previous films, and he came to you for help, and you ended up producing and featuring in that film. Can you tell me a little bit about that film, just to finish off, and tell us what we can expect from that one?
Yeah, Blood Relatives is essentially a vampire daddy-daughter road trip movie inspired by films like Paper Moon and Ganja and Hess. It's a very small film, dialogue-driven. And our hope and dream is that it'll be canonized by young girls, you know, for years to come. It's a very sweet daddy-daughter story, and a true vehicle not only for Noah but for Victoria Morales, who plays his daughter in the film. I did a film with her called Plan B. My friend Natalie Morales directed, and when Noah was on the search for someone to play his daughter, I said, you got to check out this girl Victoria. She's phenomenal. She's rocketing to stardom. And you gotta get her in here. It's a tiny movie. We shot it in Taylor, Texas, and the fact that, you know, both Wounded Fawn and Blood Relatives are coming out, you know, like a week apart is really kind of wonderful. Hasn't quite sunk in yet. Let alone that I'm one of them is a movie I'm starring in. I haven't done that since, you know, it's been many years. Last time was when I directed myself, so that still hasn't sunk in. I'm very, very thrilled about both though. So I hope people love them.
No, they're both fantastic. So sorry, Blood Relatives.
I was just gonna say, Blood Relatives is fucking awesome.
Oh,
Like,
man.
it's so funny and it's so sexy and it's so cool and it's so heartfelt. Like, it's all of those things,
it's fantastic.
all
It's
at
brilliant.
the same time.
Yeah, he
So
did a
good.
wonderful job. He did such a good job, Noah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you did too. I mean, you get a really good build up. I don't want to give anything away, but you get a fantastic build up. I was like, please say this is going to be Josh. This is going to be Josh that they're building up, and it was. So that was great. It was great as well. Yeah, it's fantastic. Listen, guys, I've got to go wrap. So it's been really good to see you again. Nice to speak to you. I wish you the best of luck with both films, and I hope to speak to you again sometime soon.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Howard.
All right. Cheers. Thanks very much. All the best. Take care of yourself. Bye now.
I'm really looking forward to our time here together.